Hey guys, welcome to another Love Success Factors video. I know it's been a while guys since I've released a video, but I just wanted to say thanks for hanging in. I know it's been a pretty crazy couple of months, in the midst of a global emergency, a crisis, the midst of we've never seen for I think 100 years. In this time of coronavirus, it's really important to take stock of everything that we've got around us that we can be thankful for, and that's going to be the focus of today's video. I want to talk about how you can still thrive and how you can still keep developing yourself when you're in the midst of a crisis. And hopefully guys, you'll look back at this time 5, 10, 20 years from now, and you'll say to yourself, geez, this was probably one of the best chances I had to develop myself, to become a better version of myself, but to also take stock of all of the things that I've been thankful for. So without further ado, let's get into today's video. So guys, a lot of I suppose a lot of things have happened over the last few months. Personally, I know that the last video I released was I think sometime in Feb or March, and it has been a very turbulent time, I suppose, in the world. And on a personal front, I have recently changed roles. I've started a new job. Really excited about it, but it's been a really challenging time in that it's been unconventional. I remember I only spent, I think, about a week in the office before all of the lockdowns came into effect. And when you're thrown into a situation that you, let's say, haven't faced before, you try and you try and adapt, but because you haven't been through a situation like we have, it's easy to get overwhelmed. And I remember feeling very overwhelmed at the start of this whole pandemic. I remember it was the first or second week in March, and we basically had to start locking down, basically start staying at home. So I'm based in Melbourne, in Victoria, in Australia, and we basically had a stay-at-home order that came into effect very early on in March. And that basically meant that it was very hard to go into the office to do your work, or go into the office to basically to do anything. And we had to very quickly mobilize to go and start working from home. Now, for me, this was not something that I wasn't experiencing, because I did spend basically a month at home prior to that. I took a bit of time off between jobs. And so I was sort of used to the spending more time at home, occupying myself with self-development, with making videos for you guys. So in that sense, it wasn't that much of a shock. However, I suppose with the added stress of everything going on around us, and I suppose the uncertainty, I can see, looking back, how it was, we were quite rightly worried and fearful about what was going to happen and what was going to transpire. We're now in the first or second week of May, and I think things are starting to normalize, stabilize, as they say. In Australia, I know that we're looking to lift some of the restrictions, or some of the states are looking to lift some of the restrictions. So I think we're very much on the cusp of things moving to the next phase in this global emergency. And I think personally, I've sort of come around to actually verbalizing and putting down some of my thoughts about what I've done basically to try and get through this period, hopefully a better person, but also a lot more resilient, so that when I am faced, and when my family and the people around me are faced with challenges of the future, I know how to react. I know how to navigate the unknown, the uncertainty, and I think that's something that is probably the most challenging. The very fact that you don't know what the next day, the next week, the next month, or even the next year is going to look like. It's very challenging to be able to chart a course. But I think now is the perfect opportunity to focus on those things that you've always wanted to focus on, but you've never had the chance. And so I think it is certainly very sad with everything that's going on in the world, and the massive health impacts, the massive changes in lifestyle, and the livelihoods basically of people who have lost their jobs, which is and lost their lives. That's certainly not a good thing, and my heart goes out to them. But I suppose for those of us who are lucky enough that we are able to work from home and we are able to still continue living our life in some sort of normalcy, in some sort of I suppose ability to still do most of the things that we would like to do. We can still connect with family, we still have access to great food, to great healthcare. I think this is a real blessing, but I think it's also a blessing because we've been presented with an opportunity to really change ourselves and hopefully change the world for the better. And I think now is the time that we need to be making all of those strides, all of those changes to the way we live our lives. And now is the perfect time to do that. So I wanted to cover some of these things that I've been doing that I think have been really helpful for me to be able to navigate this whole emergency. And I think the first thing for me is knowing that this will all come to an end at some point in time. Now, regardless of your views on what this whole illness means, putting that aside, I think as a global community, life will go on. There are a whole number of initiatives aimed at tackling the health challenges. Some of the brightest minds in the world are putting their work and their efforts towards finding cures or vaccines, or I'm not a medical expert, so I don't claim to know much about how all of that stuff works, but I know that and I have faith and I have belief that at some point in time, at some point in the future, we will be able to get past this. If you just look at human history, we as humans, as a species, have been able to evolve and adapt and and grow and basically thrive out of calamity and catastrophe. So I certainly think that we will come out of this, and I think knowing that there will be an end point gives you, and it has given me, a lot more calm. I have been, there are days where you go up and down and you go, well, you're really unsure of the future. But I think knowing that at some point in the future, things will go back. And to be honest, at that point in time, when things are exactly back to where we were in, say, 2019, or even at the start of 2020, we've become so used to different ways of doing things that I almost think that, why would we want to go back or backwards? Because experience shapes us. And so going through this, we become different people, we become better people, and our habits will change. We'll obviously, hopefully, keep up the sense of cleanliness, the sense of sanitation that is required at this point in time. And so some of those things, will be different to how we've done things, but I think they will be for the better. And so it'll only mean that, we'll be better able to deal with challenges in the future, especially on the health front. But, we will still be able to enjoy everything that we've enjoyed in the past. but will be more enriched through this experience. And so coming back to the fact that at some point in time things will go back and we'll continue life as normal has been something that's calmed me down, and it's been I've been able to focus on my work and also now refocus on building up this plan, my purpose. And my purpose is to actually help you, to help people become the best version of themselves that they can be. And so it's really renewed my focus on that, because sometimes when you're going through a crisis, you have to help yourself before you can help others. And that's been the case for me. I know that I haven't released a video in a couple of months, and I will be following up with the blog post, guys. So I encourage you to check out lifesuccessfactors.com, or just type it into Google or type it into YouTube, and hopefully you'll come across my channel. Please subscribe, and tell me what you think about this video. So the second thing that's been helping me get through this crisis is actually getting stuck into my work. Now, I mentioned before that I've recently changed jobs, and it's been challenging, because I would have liked to have spent more time interacting face to face with my new colleagues and team members, but understandably that hasn't been a possibility, and I think for me that's been a real opportunity to grow and develop skills that I perhaps hadn't been able to before, or focus on that ability to develop my relationships no matter what. And so I can't use the excuse of now being physically separated from the people that I need to interact with, because out of calamity, out of necessity drives innovation, and has driven this need for me to still continue to be the best professional I can be, and still deliver value to my clients and my team members. So for me, being able to focus on my work, to still continue to do things that all the things that have made me successful in the past, to be able to continue to do that has been a real comfort for me, and it's allowed me to move from where we were a few months ago in March of 2020 to where we are now. And I think that's been really heartening, because as I've gone through these last, let's say, 7 or 8 weeks, I've learnt more about myself and how I can deal with change and be more resilient. But it's also sort of drilled home for me the importance of maintaining your networks, maintaining your professional connections, and also just maintaining those personal connections with people, because especially in this time where we're isolated or physically distant from the people around us, I think it's really important to still keep that connection with the people around us. So that's something that I've been really happy about, that I've been able to maintain that focus, and also maintaining that focus on delivering great quality work, maintaining that focus on great quality work, and making sure that whatever I put out is worthy of being called my best work. And so despite everything going on around us, I think it's important to be able to focus on things and not let ourselves be distracted. And this actually segues really nicely into this into the third way that I've been able to sort of be really resilient and get through this period of crisis is to focus on the things that actually matter. And what I mean by this is to not be, I suppose, caught up in all of the information, all the different messaging, coming from the media, and focusing on all of the conversations that have been happening on social media. A lot of it is a distraction. Obviously, you do need to keep up with all of the directives from the health, the leadership in terms of health, and and your government. But I think aside from that, a lot of the back and forth is actually quite distracting, and it's actually not helpful, because all of these things, you get caught up in the cycle of bad news, and that can be really detrimental for your mental health, and also your physical health. And that's something that it's easy to get caught up in. And so it's just reminding yourself that, look, things are never as good as they are, but also quite equally, things are never as bad as they are. So while yes, we are in a time of crisis, things will change, things will get better, but it's not the doom and gloom that a lot of people are sort of selling out there, and there's various reasons why people do that. So it's just being cognizant of that and pulling yourself away and focusing on the things that really matter to you. For me, that's been my family, the relationships with my friends, and obviously my work. So those are some of the things, guys, that have really helped me get through this period of crisis. They call it the time of Corona. So look, we don't know what the future holds. And I'll leave you with this thought, it's especially in times like this, where the future is probably more uncertain than even in other times. I think we can take stock in the fact that we are truly free, because we're not held captive by what lies in the future. All we have is right now, and we can make the most of what we have right now to become better people, to come out of this whole crisis basically renewed, and really grateful for all of the blessings around us, all of the things that we should be thankful for. Living in a great country, and also having access to basically anything we want. So I think that's something that I'm certainly taking out of this whole experience is knowing that at the end of this, and there will be an end, guys, is that we'll come out and we'll be better people, and I think we'll learn to appreciate the things in our lives. So whatever it is that you do, guys, to help you get through this period, I encourage you to surround yourself with positivity, because to be honest, I think that's the thing that's going to help you more so than following everything that you read in the media, because that's, to be honest, a lot of that is just a distraction. Obviously, keep abreast of all of the official directions that are given to you from your governments and your health authorities, and seek help if you're feeling sick. But I think coming out of this, guys, is hopefully we'll come out a better world, and I'm certainly looking forward to actually getting out there. So once these restrictions lift, I'm really looking forward to heading out there and basically trying to get back to some sort of normalcy, because I think we could all do with some of that right now, especially as we head into winter, and the days are getting shorter, and it's getting darker earlier. I think it'll do a whole lot of good for a lot of people to be able to get out there, see the people that they love, go out and do the things that they have always been able to do, albeit while following all of the directives out there in terms of being physically distant, and keeping up good hand hygiene and cleanliness and all of that sort of stuff. So I hope you found this video helpful, guys, and look, apologies that I haven't been able to make or release a video for you guys. I will follow up with a blog post with a bit of a summary of my thoughts about how I've been able to navigate this period, and hopefully this video has been really helpful for you. Guys, please don't forget to check out my website at www.lifesuccessfactors.com. Check out my Life Success Factors Instagram page. Subscribe to my channel, guys. It would really help me and help the YouTube algorithm deliver more of my content to more people, and hopefully help more people. Or subscribe to my channel, like this video and hit that notification bell so you're notified whenever I release another video. So I'll leave it there, guys. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next video. This is Craig signing out from LifeSuccessFactors.com.